What's up, everyone? My name is Spencer, and today on Riding Around, we're going to go ride around on my 1967 Honda CT90 with a Piranha YX140 swapped engine. It's a pretty peppy little bike, and I'm excited to show you around Pullman, and let's go for a ride.
Okay, we are suited up, ready to go. What we have today, like I said, 67 CT90, YX140 swap, 19-inch wheels, front and rear. They are Golden Boy tires, which is pretty classic tire, a little knobby. Original handlebars, swap throttle, light bar on the front, which is a cute little Amazon special, supermoto fender, drum brakes, front and rear, eBay shocks, of course, registered in Vermont, small little LED light in the back for a brake light, works pretty well, as well as the front headlight works actually surprisingly well, also LED. 12-volt battery for the lights and the starter, gas tank underneath, it holds about 1.4 or 1.3 gallons, something like that, which on this little zipper works pretty well. Uni filter for the new carb position, and skid plate. That's about it. Pretty simple little machine. Not quite a step-through bike like a scooter might be. It does have that central bar down there. So step over, but let's get fired up and go for a whirl. I need a little choke for it. Oh yeah, there we go. And we're dead again. Alright. Listen to her. Give her some little choke for a while. Enrich as it is, it's not technically a choke. It's a fuel enrichment. And let's go. Pause the stop up here, close the garage door. And we are golden there. Alright. She is a ripper. Let's see, bike has approximately 12 horsepower, which is what the internet claims. I'm going to guess it's more like 8, if that. Stock these bikes came with about 5, so a bit of an improvement. The 90cc engine that was in this was from, oh yeah, 90cc engine that was original was from 1967, so that was putting out, God, terrible power. It was reliable though. I did a top-end rebuild on it, carb rebuild, and it still ran, which is pretty impressive, and definitely a shout-out to Honda reliability. We're going to cruise all around through town, hopefully not get hit in this intersection. Oh yeah. The old engine did run, which is, I guess, a good thing. But like this hill right here, I would have slowed down to maybe 10 miles an hour going up it. Pullman is a very hilly place, and that just isn't a sustainable speed for getting around here. I live at the top of a hill. My work is at the top of another hill, and it was just impossible to get anywhere. See, we're going to go left here, again, hopefully not get hit. As you can probably hear, it is a manual shift. It is not a CVT like a normal scooter would be, but it does not have a clutch like a normal motorcycle would. It has the semi-auto clutch, which works great. Basically, you give it gas and it goes, but you are still selecting your own gears. What's going on over there? It is neutral at the bottom, 4 gears up, which is a nice change from the Honda engine, which was first at the top and 4 gears down. Or, yeah, 3 gears down. First neutral, 3 more. Or 2 more, 3 more. which wasn't terrible switching back and forth between the two styles, but it wasn't exactly easy either. Like I said, no clutch. There's nothing on the bar on the left-hand side. Stock, these came with a left-hand rear brake, which would be real handy for having around trails. I do have the piece at the rear brake to install another cable if I want. I just need to buy another lever and perch and reinstall that. Not something I'm sure I want, just because if I ever get confused and go to pull a clutch on this and lock up the rear brake instead, that might not be the most fun experience in the world. Yeah, as far as brakes go, drum brakes get a bad rap, but they actually aren't too terrible. We'll probably lock up some of them later. They both lock up just fine. The knobbies kind of tend to skip along when they're locked, but it'll definitely still do it. It is probably one of the nicest days we have left this year. It's about 40 today. So it's kind of cold. We're bundled up. Fleece pants, which are a godsend when you're living in Pullman. Hands are probably going to get a little cold. I have my summer gloves, which is probably a mistake, but oh well. Neutral, I have found to be a little bit difficult on this bike to find sometimes. But that's okay. I mean, it's an auto clutch, so it doesn't mind sticking in first gear. We're going to try and do quick acceleration off of that light. I actually rubbed my toe a little bit on there. Ground clearance on this thing is not the best. But we are going probably a little too fast. We're going about 48 there. Let's see, the speedometer is an aftermarket one. It does not actually have 63 miles. It has many more than that on the frame. And we only have about 5 miles or so on the actual engine right now. I'm now going 30 in fourth gear, and this thing's a fucking tractor, I swear. Freaking tractor, rather. We're gonna turn here. Get a view of some of our resident falls. Felt the clutch slip a little bit. That was a little unique. This thing's a torque monster. I'm in third gear, putting along at 30, going up a fairly steep hill. Not sure what you see on the camera, but we could keep going, accelerate if we want. It's been just about perfect for Pullman. Gearing, we have a 43 or 45 tooth in the rear, and I'm on a 17 tooth up front. The old Honda had a 15 tooth up front instead, which worked great for that engine. That would not be so great for this one. You can probably hear first gear is super short on this. Most of the time it's not even worth going down into first. I'll start off in second instead. That short first gear will be nice though when it comes to riding around on the trail. The old Honda had the famous dual range sub transmission in the back, so you could basically crawl along. I do not have turn signals, so we're going to have to do some hand signals. If you notice, I don't actually either have mirror, so every once in a while I'll have to head check and make sure I'm not getting followed by the police. Anyway, we do have that low first gear. It'll get you maybe 10 miles an hour before it starts revving out. It's very short. But again, great for off-road, great if you're paddling along somewhere. Otherwise, the other three gears are pretty nicely spread. I don't have any complaints about those. I do wish I could get a higher tooth count in the rear. This 40, whatever it is, 44, 43, 45, is pretty large. This engine's torquey enough that it could go down to 40 and I'd be happy. I am limited on the counter sprocket. I don't believe I can go anywhere any higher on that, and still have room in the case for it. We're just gonna putt along out here. So it would be nice to have a little bit bigger one. Ooh, it's getting muddy. This is fun. We're in first. We're gonna... Ooh, we're real muddy here. Never mind, we're not gonna go up that. We'll get over here. Whoops, we're digging a hole. Alright, trail bike, right? There we go. This is first gear. We're butting along just fine. I probably have a big old mud stripe up my back now. Speaking of mud stripes, we'll explain that. This is the original chassis, straight out of 1967. It's the... Oh, we're flinging mud off that front tire. That is fun, as I'm just getting hit with it. The original chassis from 1967, I would call it a 67 and a half. The original engine did have the sub-transmission, which the earlier 67 did not. They had the overlay back sprocket, which was kind of a cool setup, but not what came on this bike. So it's a 50-something-year-old chassis, something like that. If I could do math, I would. There's that for short first gear. It has held up very well. When I bought the bike, I bought 65 CT200 and then 67 and a 68 CT90. All three of them cost me $600 total. None of them were running. One of them I had to pull out of the mud that was buried halfway down the wheel. But I thought it was all told a pretty damn good deal. 3 bikes, I got one running out of the 3. Sold the other 2 frames and engines to a guy for I think $300. So one running bike cost me $300. That winter I went through and repainted it, new bearings everywhere, bunch of new little parts, springs. I think I bought new cables for one of them. Had checked for police since we had gone past the police building. And just, I think I spent another $350 in new parts for the bike, new batteries, that sort of thing. It was an old 6-volt system. Before I swapped the engine, I had a converter to bump it up to 12 volts and put the light bar and the brake light in, which was great that I'd already done that work. So then when I put in this engine, which is 12 volts, all that was there for me. I just needed the battery and just lights in that harness. We're gonna... Oh, what's up, Tundra? Nice Tundra. That was a start in second gear. We're gonna see if the bears are out. WSU has a bear research facility, and doesn't look like they're out in the yard. I guess it's winter, they're probably hibernating already. Anyways, right now, putting around in second gear. There's enough torque, they loved it. Almost wish it had a 5th gear, but on these skinny little wheels, that might be a little scary, truthfully. I don't think I would want to. I mean, really, I've taken it up to 50 or so. I don't know if I would want to go much faster than that. We're going to take a left here. Don't know if I'm in third or second, but we're putting along just fine. Get some gravel under us. Kind of gravel. Oh yeah, feel the torque. The torque. On our right, we have golf course. On our left is the organic farm. Sometimes we buy fruits and pumpkins and shit from there. It's a fun little road just through campus. A little gravel. Trails are meant for gravel, right? I will often take this road the other way when I'm going home. It's a nice day and I'm just feeling like spinning some tires and some gravel and stuff like that. If I remember right, we may have... Something just hit me. That's not good. We may have the opportunity of a jump up here, which I know some of you wanted. Oh! We have a taco buddy. That's exciting. What's up, taco buddy? Howdy. They didn't look friendly. That's bizarre. Man, that is looking deep up. Maybe we don't want to go in there. Let's see. This engine is, like I said, is a little torque monster. It is a oversquare engine, I believe. My terminology is correct there. So the piston is a bigger diameter than the stroke is, which is great for torque. When you're thinking about oversquares, usually you think Harley, kind of big V twins, that sort of thing. But it does not like to rev very high. I have heard that the original motor, the CT90 motor, can rev out to about 11 grand, 10.5 or 11 grand. This, I guess, likes it as about 7.5 grand. So not a large amount there. God, this thing's fun though. Probably should not be past the cop shop. Just turn around. Okay. Handy to have. Ooh, clean. Balance on this bike, we can talk about that as I went through a stop sign, is great. The motor is slung down so low. The pegs are so low. Seat height is actually surprisingly high. Like my partner is 5'2", and or something like that, and she cannot actually hop over this. It's no problem for me. I can easily flat foot both feet, but for her, it's an issue. It is what it is. It doesn't help that I put different shocks or different front end on it. This is the front end from a CB125. The original front end on this was a leading link suspension that had maybe an inch of travel. It just kind of bobbed up and down up front there. So swap that out. It's the same stem, so as long as you have the triple top and bottom and the fork stanchions, it worked. And then kind of did a mishmash of parts from there. Hello, person. To get the axle and the spacers and everything lined up. We're not going to go out there as much as I want to. That is a nuclear research reactor. Very, very small research reactor. We are going to go putt around here though. Rear suspension is some eBay shocks that I did not do the best job ordering. See if we can some kind of a burnout going. Oh, there we go. It'll dig. I did not do the best job ordering them. They ended up being off of some kind of Yamaha ATV, and they're sprung very stiff. My butt is bouncing around. Probably does not help that the seat foam is God knows however many years old. Presumably it's the original seat foam. Normally it'd be kind of cushy, but now not so much. I don't think I've actually been out here. They are about 2 inches longer than the OG shock, which for looks is great, for ground clearance is great, but like I said, they're hard as shit, which for my ass is not great. Oh wow, there's a nice little view out here. That's kind of cool. So, not sure what y'all can see. So, we have apartment land over here, student recreation center, tennis court. I'm fucking up. Our baseball field there, indoor practice field, football stadium's in the background, where I work is in the background, there's a clock tower, and then, of course, farmland because Pullman. Yeah, let's continue on our way. It is bizarre having neutral at the bottom, and sometimes it still gets me. That time it definitely just got me. We're, now that I said let's get going, we're actually going to pause for a minute. We're just going to make sure everything's okay. I'll be honest, I don't trust this bike yet. On the original engine, it was always breaking down for some reason or another. I think there was an air leak that was not fun on it. But it just wasn't a very happy engine overall. This new one, it is too new for me to trust realistically. Right now, I mean, it's doing great, but, you know, weird things have happened on this bike. I had axle adjuster come loose and actually burnt part of the tire in here, which let's make sure that that's still, okay, that's center, we're good. Chain tension is weird. It's just a weird bike. But yeah, when I redid the frame, I chopped the fender. There's a weld line right here. The original fender went down quite a ways further. I decided I didn't want that, so I chopped it, gave it that bobber look. Bobber? I guess it'd be a bobber. And that is why we are flinging mud everywhere. Alright, everything else seems to be going pretty well. Doesn't look like anything's rattled off. We have a box full of tools in the backpack, just in case anything does. I guess that's one of the nice things about these bikes is pretty much anything goes wrong, it's a 10, a 12, a 14, or a 17 millimeter wrench. There's a few hex bolts around there. That's about it. Alright, let's get going again. Motherfucker. Woo! Oh, that was fun. Now I have to go back to the camera. I have not figured out the perfect formula for wheeling this yet, which is a bummer. But it does want to just lift up from a standstill, which is gobs of fun. Actually almost ran into a wall in my garage one time doing that, which is, you know, a good time all around. Alright, let's pick up the camera and then get on our way before, you know, we get cops caught on us or something. What's over there? We'll go check that out next. Okay, let's hope that tripod does not stab me in the kidneys. Just like that, she's back up. Old engine was kickstart only. Not the end of the world, but not exactly fun. Especially if it was being temperamental and didn't want to start. This electric start is a bit of a game changer. It has made this so nice. Like I said earlier, it's an over square engine, and it's fairly high compression for what it is. I don't know what the actual ratio is off the top of my head, but it makes it easy to kick over. And then at the beginning, when I was having some issues with the jetting on it, it wanted to kick back on me, which that was absolutely no fun at all. Oh, someone was having fun doing Bernie's over here. Doing some donuts. I think this is probably a walking path. I don't think I should be on that. Oh well. Man, this thing's a tractor. I'm in second going up this hill right now. It's lugging a bit, but it's doing it. God, this little bike, I love it. I did not know this existed. This is a nice little area. Now I feel kind of bad for being on a motorcycle on it. We're going to come up and read this plaque. I am a plaque reader. Don't know about you. Oh, this is the Warren McCluskey Trail. Now I feel even worse for being on a bike up here. Whoops. Let's get out of here. Let's see, what else can we talk about on this bike? Currently there are no passenger accommodations. I took off the passenger peg. This is kind of a fun little trail. I wish this was an actual, like, motorized trail. I took off the passenger peg because I did not have a buddy seat. They do make a seat that went on the rear rack. I did not have one, so I took off the larger rear rack and just have kind of the small rack that you can see the battery strapped to. And I am fine with that. On the old engine, I bet you, myself plus the passenger, couldn't get over 25. On the new engine, I don't think it'd have a problem with it at all. I think it could absolutely handle the passenger. Oh, that's a curb. Oh, my ass. Which is great. I don't think Lisa, my partner, would really want to come for a ride on this anyway. Alright, let's keep popping around town. I kind of love the sound that this thing makes. It's surprisingly throaty. When I first installed the engine, I put the literal cheapest eBay engine I could find that didn't ship direct from China. So the exhaust on it, I think, was 30 or 40 bucks, 35, 40 bucks, something like that, with free shipping. Got here in 5 days, something like that. But it was, I don't know, 6 or 8 inch can with a straight pipe, essentially. There was some, sorry, ice cream shop. There was some baffling in there, you know, just your glass pack material, but the center pipe was straight through. What's that? PBR? Nice. It was not an enjoyable experience. I'll take this way, because that bike, I don't know where that Subaru is going. Not enjoyable at all. That thing hurt your ears. I don't think the engine necessarily enjoyed having that on there either. It seems to run better with this exhaust. This exhaust I do think is a little bit more restrictive. which is a bummer. But I mean, in terms of speed, I don't need more. So I'm fine with a little bit of restriction coming out of the exhaust. I do need to repaint the exhaust at some point. There was one OEM heat shield that I had on there that one of the bolts was frozen off, and I just recently pulled that off because I thought I might have a rust hole in there actually. This being a 53, 54-year-old exhaust, again, someone check my math. It did have some rust on it. It was original. These exhausts have a lot of room for condensation to build up in there. But that, we patched it. The metal's too thin to weld, and it's not like I can weld anyway, so I actually took some JB weld and PBR can, slathered the can in JB weld, stuck it over the holes, and that was 2 years ago, and it's still doing great. I'm amazed it's held up, but I don't have that patch painted. I don't have the spot that's underneath where that OEM heat shield was painted, so we're probably going to pull off the exhaust at some point this winter. Alright, fourth gear, that's 50, 55. Well, that was a quick 55. Ooh, that's a bump. Oh. That was fun. There's a bus coming though. That's not good. I wish I had my ram mount that I can put on here, because I'm not positive that the speed is actually accurate on the Speedo. For one, the tire size is a little bit different than what it normally would be. So, I mean, greater radius will throw that number off quite a bit. And it's all gear driven. There's a little gear inside the hub in the front that spins a cable that goes into the back of the speedometer, and I'm sure there's some kind of loss through that, which is, you know, not entirely accurate. It is also a cheapo aftermarket speedometer. It's supposed to be the correct ratio, which I believe is 5520 to 1 or 2260 to 1 or some weird Honda number that basically all Honda Speedos are. Let's get down to the third there. Oh shit, there's a lot of houses there. I used to live up here, and then when I moved, they were just starting the construction over there. Looks like they've done quite a bit more on it. Here's a nice view of Pullman. Pullman's a great place. It's quiet, it is college town, and it definitely feels like a college town. The dating scene sucked when I was in there. I am currently engaged, so I don't have to worry about that anymore, hopefully. I don't think she has any plans to break up with me, at least. Hope not. But it's a great little place, great downtown. We'll probably go through there at some point. I have no idea how long I've actually been riding. I can ramble like a motherfucker. Let's see, that's a couple bars, restaurant, Corner Mart. Used to live walking distance of this Corner Mart here, which was great. Go there, throw a six-pack on your lap, head home. Where's this bus going? Oh, a half-ass signal there. I think he was giving me the way though. This we call apartment land because it is all apartments. It's not even, I don't know where the closest house actually is. But it's a great little place. Oh, hey, third gen. What's up? I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the new CT125 that came out this year. It is 4-speed, semi-auto, so very similar to this. 125cc, 124, I think, actually. But basically the same engine that is in a Grom or a Monkey or a Passport, I believe is what their fared bike is called. I want to say it's what, $4,400, something like that. Fuel injection. I think that would be honestly the biggest benefit of buying that over this, is that fuel injection. Carburetors are finicky. I have this tuned for winter temps, and I will probably have to bump it up a little bit once summer comes, and we need to change that out. But aside from that, the engine on this was $600 after shipping. Add in another $200 in miscellaneous parts, cables, throttles, grips. What's up, another taco? Nice stance on it. And all in on this bike, I'm in, I don't know, $2,000, $2,500. I'm guessing this has actually a higher top speed than a 125 would, just because the gearing's a little bit differently. I don't know. I like doing everything to this bike. If I had $4,300, $4,400, I'm not positive that I would actually be spending it on a new CT125. I think I would probably be looking at a RC390, Duke 390, something that could be kind of a track weapon a little bit, but not a leader bike or a 600 RR or anything like that. But I'm quite happy with this. It's been a multi-year project. It's been a fun time. I did see a cop back there, so I'm a little nervous about that right now, but that's alright. This bike is technically street legal, depending on how deep into those technicalities you want to get. It does have a plate on it. It is registered. It is insured. My insurance cost me, I think, $12 a year or something stupid like that. Things that might not be so legal, the engine swap, the emissions. I did replace the brake light and headlight. I don't think those are probably going to be DOT approved. And I don't have turn signals. Turn signals were an option on this bike. They're not standard equipment. So I'm sure I could argue that just fine, but it's one of those things where it's how dick does that cop want to be that day, if they're going to say anything about it or not. I generally try not to be a hooligan on this, so that shouldn't really be a problem for me, but you never know. Whoop, whoop. Let's see. Give you all a close up of this speedo. It makes me laugh that it goes up to 160 miles an hour. Like I said, all Honda Speedos use kind of the same gear ratio if they're a mechanically driven one. And this is, you know, for like a cafe racer, CB750, CB450, something like that. But it works, and it makes me laugh that it has 160 mile an hour top speed on the Speedo, despite top speed being closer to something probably like 60. I did do the math at one point. I think theoretically the gearing tops out at like 64 on this, something like that. This intersection got busy. That's sketchy. There we go. Get in gear. Drop shield. And just like that, we're in fourth. Plotting along. One of the things that is nice is this is a very narrow bike compared to every other one I own. It feels like it should almost be too small to ride in traffic, but we're good. It rides around just fine. Ooh, that's a nice Subaru. See that around quite a bit actually. It's narrow, but it's great. I would say this is the perfect grocery getter beer bike. When the weather's nice this summer, not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna daily it to work. Gonna try and get over. Throwing out hand signals. I think it's a perfect summer bike, truthfully. There's not much creature comforts on this. There's no ABS, there's no wind protection of any sort. Like I said, it's carbureted, so temperatures can be finicky for it. There's no grip hand warmers. My hands are actually starting to feel it quite a bit. It's a good bike. Perfect summer bike, perfect fucking around town bike. In my list on Amazon, I have a bicycle cart, like one that you would throw children in the back of, but a slightly heavier duty version one that I think after Christmas I'm going to buy and figure out a way to put on the back of this. Torque-wise, it has enough to pull a little bit, but I think it'd just be a riot to take this to the grocery store, load it up, oh yo, let's go, load it up with some groceries, and haul it back home. You never know, game day, throw a keg in there, roll through the tailgating area. I think it'd be a hoot and a half, a little blast. This is our vibrant downtown area. I will say the clutch is definitely smoother on this one than the old worn out Honda clutch. T-Bolt USA, where I got the engine, does make a 5-disc or 5-plate clutch, heavy duty, that I think at some point I will swap in, just to get a little better clamping on it. I haven't felt it slip a whole lot yet, but I'm not exactly a small person. I'm about 200 pounds, 6'2", and like I said, it may be necessary down the road. Let's road out after. Let's see, we're gonna pop by the gas station, put a little fuel in here. This bike does require 91 premium, super premium, which is no problem. I put it in all my bikes anyway. We have a little station up here that does 91 ethanol free that I put, like I said, all of my bikes. We got no one following us too hard, but we'll give them lots of signal. I have no idea what the gas mileage is on this yet. Since this engine swap, this is the longest ride I've done on it. Done about 20 miles total on the new engine. So who knows what that looks like, or will look like. We've got our little kill button there, or alternatively, we have a switch down here, 3D printed little plate, and then an on-off for the lights. You never know if I want to turn them on to move the bike or pull it inside or something like that, so we keep that on there. Like I said, it does have the Kickstarter. It is a tough son of a bitch to kick, so I'm glad about that. Ooh, we got some mud up in there. Nice. A little dirty, but let's get some gas. Old school here. The fill is under, we use barely anything. Awesome. Like I said, the fill is under the seat, lifted up, little cap, nothing too terrible there. 1 point something gallon tank that is almost impossible to see into. I have no idea what the gauge is. Old carburetor had the petcock built into the carb, which was great because then the reserve was super functional. I had a hard time finding, wow, that needed almost nothing. 1.1 gallons apparently. That surprises me. I had a hard time finding a petcock with lines this small that was 2-to-1. So what I ended up doing was just using a one-line petcock kind of down here near the carburetor, and actually just clamping off the normal line, so all the fuel comes out of the reserve line right now. It works, but I just need to remember not to run out of gas at any point. I do have a little, I think it's a quarter, half a liter? No, it's a liter bottle, a liter fuel bottle that, if I'm going on a longer ride and I know that I'm not going to be around at the gas stations or anything like that, I can bring along for some peace of mind. But alright, let's get going. Let's see, I need to redo the kickstand on this. That is a future project. Woo! Future project, the one on it right now is for the stock suspension height, which is much different than it's at now. So the bike leans over hilariously far. We're gonna go, we're running. I do have another kickstand that I can put on. I just haven't done it yet. Other future projects for this is an oil cooler. 140cc is kind of borderline, where you do need it and you don't need it, depending on it. So by the time summer rolls around, I'll throw that oil cooler on there. As of right now, I don't think it's a big deal, because it's 40 degrees outside and we're getting lots of airflow through. Biggest issue is where do you mount an oil cooler on this? The skid plate interferes with quite a bit of the mounting point. You can't mount it on the head, you can't mount it on the stem, so I'll figure out a way to hopefully mount it to the two cross yokes of the skid plate there. Other than that, I'd love to repaint it at some point. A lot of the paint has been chipped away. It's just super greasy overall. Before I lined the tank, there was just a little, not even a pinhole leak, it was more of a seep. And so that got underneath the 2K clear coat and caused some brown spots along a lot of the seams. It just kind of morphed out from there. So I'd love to get that all off, redo it, take down the bare metal. If I'm feeling real fancy, maybe powder coat it, but we'll see about that. Other than that, you can stand up on it. I don't really trust it. With how low the center of gravity is and how tall I am, it just makes it feel super wonky. But yeah, we're about back at my house. Thank you for riding along. I'm sure if you have any comments, please leave them below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hit this curb super hard. Ugh, ugh, ugh. All right.